Welcome back to 60 Minutes. I'll let you in on a secret. I'm not getting any younger, and neither are you. But we are getting bigger and bigger, and that's not good. The simple truth is we need to take better care of ourselves if we're to have a healthy life. So for a positive future, my doctors told me to look back, way back to my prehistoric ancestors' days. For 6 months now, I've been following his advice and dining like a caveman. Does it work? Well, you be the judge.
I'm gonna lie you down on your back.
At first, it seemed like a sensible idea to hand my body over to science.
Makes it a bit more comfortable on your back.
But right now, I'm not so sure. Maybe I don't need to do this after all, Jenny.
You've changed your mind?
Perhaps I'm not worried about the future. After years of life on the road, not always lived wisely,
You'll hear the voice coming out of the machine asking when to breathe in and hold your breath.
I will obey the machine. I started to worry about heart disease. If I'm going to have a heart attack, what will I experience?
It's scary. Patients describe terrible pressure in their chest. They haven't had anything like it before. They're often short of breath, sweaty, pale, unwell.
Cardiologist Dr. Warwick Bishop's remarkable technology
Small amount of calcium in the artery that runs down the front of the heart.
means that for the first time we can analyse how good or bad our coronary arteries are without any invasive surgical operation.
A bit higher.
To be able to see the workings, the inside of one's own heart, is extraordinary.
It's absolutely revolutionary, I believe.
A few days later, the results are in, and the doc gives me the bad news that the high life I've been leading has caused calcification in one of my coronary arteries.
And we can pick these changes up early.
Calcium is an indicator of where cholesterol build-up over years has damaged and sometimes narrowed an artery wall. That's it, right there. If I want to avoid a heart attack, what the doctor orders is a daily cholesterol-lowering drug. And worse, I have to cut the carbs. I used to eat half a loaf of toast every morning.
Yeah, that's probably too much for you. And far more sensible to say, well, for you, Charlie, it would be prudent to minimise your carbohydrates and look to alternate foods.
So, from hometown Hobart, I embark on a journey of self-discovery.
Watch me do my thing, get lost into my singing.
Little realising the first stop would be Bondi Beach.
I feel like Bobby Fischer, always for moves ahead.
What my doctors prescribed is commonly known as a paleo diet. No bread, no spuds, no rice, no pasta. It sounds like no fun, but paleo's not just about food or the lack of it. It's become a fashionable alternative lifestyle, and Bondi is its Australian headquarters. Here, if you're not into it, there's something wrong with you.
And it's all good. And it's all good.
People, converts to paleo, are almost claiming that there's this seedy underbelly of conspiracy theories at work in the nutrition industry, and despite what the government says, that things like dairy and grains are evil. Cheese is the devil, basically. You can forget crooked politicians. Cheddar is the new enemy of the state.
Writer Emma Markovich says in places like Bondi, paleo has found a legion of followers in a subculture known as hipsters.
Definitely hipster.
Those urban-dwelling, alternative, organic food-loving types. They're everywhere, aren't they?
They're everywhere. Of course, being a paleo aficionado, as you are essentially a hipster yourself. But you've now worked yourself into this new tribe. You're probably the first sexagenarian hipster I've ever met, actually.
At least it's good to know I'm on trend. So while I was ahead, I decided to quit the social science and go for the real stuff. At Lake Tahoe, in the spectacular Sierra Nevada mountains of the USA, I found Mr. Paleo himself, scientist Dr. Lauren Cordain, the man who created and wrote the paleo diet. It's not all bad news, is it?
It's taken the most powerful idea in all of biology and medicine, Darwin's theory of evolution through natural selection and applying it to nutrition.
In other words, Cordain's paleo diet is all about a meat-heavy menu with plenty of fresh vegetables, but no processed food, dairy or grains. The idea is to mimic the simple way earliest humans, cavemen and women, would have lived.
The idea is to emulate the foods that they ate and avoid the foods they didn't eat. And so if you were to forage for food, there is one combination you would not ever be able to find in natural food. And that combination is carbohydrate and fat. It doesn't occur together. And we have food processors that mix fat and carbohydrate together. And you know what? If you put a little dash of salt in it, it even makes it more delicious.
Dr. Cordain says turning the official food pyramid on its head is not really that difficult, and that it doesn't necessarily turn us into primitives.
When we focus on eating real foods that our tastes guide us to, then we're in good shape. When we eat processed foods that our taste guide us through, we're in bad shape. Oh, perfect.
And if I can do it, anyone can. Paleo is an easy diet to follow. Even a glass of red wine is okay.
And so if you focus on the outside aisles of the supermarket, where you find the fresh fruits, the veggies, the seafood, the meats, the eggs, those are the foods that are central to this. And if you stay away from those middle aisles where the cookies and the potato chips and the flours and the refined sugars are, you're about 85% of the way there.
It's a fascinating and romantic idea that maybe we can turn to some glorious past when our ancestors had this wonderful lifestyle and health. But the realities of the Stone Age, of the Paleolithic, are the opposite.
Darren Curnow is a paleontologist from the University of New South Wales. He recreates a remote past through the study of fossils. He thinks a paleo diet is a theory that faddists have taken too far.
The problem is when we look at the evidence, when we look at particularly the human genome, we see that there's really nothing to support this idea.
Here at the Australian Museum, Professor Curnow makes no bones about it. Paleolithic man, he tells me, just ate whatever he could to survive.
The problem for us is that we don't know whether they're very representative of what our ancestors really ate. If we think about the paleo diet, I would imagine that most people on it are upper middle class Westerners, probably of largely Anglo descent. And the reality is we have no idea really what our ancestors ate in the UK, say, if we go back beyond about 5 or maybe 10,000 years.
About 1 million years ago, huge creatures like this, called megafauna, were common all over the world. Then, about 50,000 years ago, they suddenly disappeared. We think that Stone Age man ate them, that these great lumbering packages of meat were the first casualties of the paleo diet. I don't think I'd be starting with this. It's a bit fierce.
I've actually got a very nice recipe for crocodile tail.
Really?
Deep fried, crumbed, and with a very nice lemon butter sauce.
According to Curnow, it's not good science to simply pick and choose those parts of the caveman diet we want to mimic and exclude those parts we definitely don't want.
In fact, we've got to have the whole package. And the whole package even includes things like cannibalism, you know, the kinds of foods that were being eaten in the past, some of which are now quite rightly outlawed. But, you know, we were eating grandmother sometimes. And
That's a scary thought. Best not mention it to the hipsters at Bondi, nor to their grandmothers. Well, you're a professional student of these matters. Do you think those hipster paleo dieters are having themselves on?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You bet your sweet beef cheeks I do. The whole thing is, I mean, the idea of it is quite ridiculous, but it works because it makes perfect sense and is equally ridiculous in equal measure. I mean, of course, we should all be eating less processed foods. That makes sense. That makes a much more healthier lifestyle. But doing something just because a caveman did it is also inherently bizarre. I mean, our Paleolithic ancestors also hit women over the head and dragged them back to caves. So are we going to start doing that?
That was a good part, wasn't it? Back in my cave, paleo has been a way of life for 6 months now. And not only have I lowered my carbohydrate intake substantially, I've also come in about 4 belt notches, which I reckon is about 10 kilos.
Look, I've wasted away.
I know you're my skinny husband now.
I hope my arteries appreciate that I've replaced roast potatoes with cauliflower.
They're not for you.
I won't be touching. And I trust my poor dinner guests are interested in carbs and the price of cauliflowers.
Crisp like.
But after listening to all the arguments, I hope I've made the right decision. The grandfather of paleo, Dr. Cordain, certainly thinks so.
And when I see people who have lost an enormous amount of weight, who now can lead a normal lifestyle or defeat a disease that was killing them, I love that. And at the end of the day, what really makes me happy is to see I've changed people's lives.
To have your say about tonight's show, you can find us on Facebook. Coming up, she can bowl.
Oh, Elise Perry.
She can bat.
Smashes again.
And she can bend it like Beckham.
What a goal, Elise Perry.
Elise Perry is a sporting freak
You betcha.
with a killer smile.
Is it pretty amazing to be able to say I'm the only person who represents our country in soccer and cricket?
Don't go around saying it too much.
Your daughter is super smart, talented, gorgeous, and nice.
Gets it from her mum.
That's next on 60 Minutes.